Militaries all over the world use diverse firearms, but some of these forces don't always tell the public that they have adopted a new gun, or if they are planning to purchase a new one to replace their existing units. Essentially, you will just know about these guns once you see them in actual use. Service pistols, in particular, aren't the primary firearm of focus of various military forces. This is the exact opposite of how law enforcement agencies give priority to their sidearms. Still, this doesn't mean that militaries aren't picky when it comes to their handguns. That's why when a particular military pistol becomes available for the civilian market, it becomes an instant hit. What's up, everyone? This is your boy Ted from Line 45. In this episode, I compiled some of the most popular military service pistols of all time. These are verified guns, by the way, meaning that they have been officially issued. Before we get underway, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I know it is a chore, but these simple clicks help my channel immensely. Now, let's return to the video. Pomas G1 and MacML50. Okay, these entries are an exception to the rest, but I deem that they should be recognized nonetheless for the significant roles they played in the French military. As of now, our buddies from France are already using a custom-made 5th-generation configuration of the Glock 17, officially called the Glock 17 FR, where FR simply stands for France. This gun was officially adopted by France sometime in 2020. But before the Glock 17 FR, there were two guns that withstood the test of time and remained on the sidearm of French soldiers for many decades. Specifically, I am referring to the MacML50 and the Pomas G1. The Pomas G1 interests me a lot, even though I haven't used one yet. After all, this gun is actually an authorized clone of the Beretta 92F. Needless to say, the two guns aren't exactly the same, even though they are technically clones. The Pomas G1 didn't copy all the features of the Beretta 92F. One notable difference is that it only comes with a decocking lever. Plus, I heard that the steel used in the Pomas G1 isn't as rugged as the one used in Beretta. Meanwhile, MacML50 was a gun developed in the 1950s. Its original design is a single-stack pistol chambered in 9mm and features a 9-round capacity. It had a single-action trigger, and notably, it utilized an operating system that shared similarities with the Browning High Power. All I know is that the Pomas G1 was supposed to replace the MacML50. However, the transition between the two was slow, and it came to the point that the guns were used at the same time. In the grand scheme, they are already old, so it was the right call to replace them with the French variant of the Glock 17. Browning High Power. In the United States, the 1911 is probably the most iconic pistol of all time. Revolvers won the West, but the 1911 defined much of American handgun history. The only gun that can match the reputation of 1911 is definitely the Browning High Power. Well, its performance isn't technically better than the 1911. I compare these two guns based on their longevity in military use, and of course their overall popularity. You shouldn't also forget that these two guns were designed by the legendary Browning himself, so they are like brothers. Although modern guns are starting to replace these high-power pistols, soldiers of specific countries such as India, Australia, and even Canada are still actively using them. I also checked and confirmed that Thailand and Bahrain also issue the high power to their military and tactical personnel. As one of the OGs in the world of 9mm, the Browning High Power was among the first pistols with a high magazine capacity. It's slotted with a 13-round magazine and comes with a manual safety and a single-action trigger. The gun was heavily used in the Second World War, and even after that, it still saw multiple isolated skirmishes and localized conflicts. Glock 9mm. If you think Glock pistols are boring, then fine. But for many countries, these guns are just the perfect sidearm. And by saying many countries, I meant the likes of Portugal, the Netherlands, Poland, Switzerland, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. In fact, these Austrian pistols are also actively used by the Naval Force of Mexico. The straightforward operation of Glock pistols are the biggest reason why they are adopted as primary sidearms of various militaries all over the world. They are pretty much the definition of a point-and-shoot pistol. Plus, these guns are battle-tested. When I say they are reliable, I mean it. They can withstand exposure to the elements and harsh environments without losing their reliability or accuracy. The most commonly used Glock guns by global armed forces are the Glock 17, Glock 19, and Glock 34. Of course, these weapons are all chambered in the 9mm, with the Glock 34 having a long slide design for optimal sight picture and accuracy. But among these guns, I can say that Glock 17 is still the more popular choice for military guys. While it's true that Glock is in its Gen 5 configuration, I noticed that Glock pistols commonly issued to soldiers all over the world are either in their Gen 3 or Gen 4 configurations. I don't think that these choices aren't exactly bad, but we all know that Gen 5 Glock pistols are more ergonomic and user-friendly. HK-USP. If you ask gunners what their Mount Rushmore of reliable pistols are, the HK-USP would likely be included in their responses. And that alone tells a lot about the quality of this pistol. The USP, or the Universal Self-Loading Pistol, was developed by Heckler & Koch. By all means, this is one hell of a timeless classic. It's a hammer-fired pistol, and one of my biases when it comes to double-action, shock, single-action handguns. I can confidently say that it's one of the first guns that perfected the deployment of a double-action, shock, single-action mechanism. Of course, it's not just me that was awed by the HK-USP. The proficiency of its performance, as well as the reliability of its design and features, were also acknowledged by the top brass uniformed guys and lettered agencies all over the world. As of now, the HK-USP is being actively used in different divisions of the German, Spanish, and Greek armed forces. I'm certain that some of you know the HK-USP as a 9mm pistol. While it's true that this gun is chambered in 9mm, the HK-USP is also designed to shoot the likes of 45 ACP, 357 SIG, and 40 S&W ammo. And by the way, it's also one of the first polymer handguns that I admired. It's not a metal pistol, but it can still manage recoil efficiently, thanks to its hefty captive recoil spring that wraps its guide rod. According to HK, this recoil system mitigates the gun's muzzle flip by about 30%. M17 M18. Of course, this list will end with the M17 or M18 of the United States military. If you are not familiar with these pistols, just take a look at the Sig Sauer P320. The M17 is literally the military designation of the P320, and that's pretty much the story here. It was at SHOT Show 2018 when the U.S. Army announced that it was going to adopt the P320 as its official sidearm, effectively replacing the Beretta M9 in the process. Basically, this meant that Sig Sauer toppled Beretta, FN America, and Glock in the modular handgun system competition. Needless to say, this doesn't imply that guns manufactured by those brands suck. It's just that by a thin margin, the P320 was able to oust its rivals. The contract is quite lucrative. It is roughly $600 million. Sig Sauer employees might have shrieked when they first heard this news. So, the M17 is the 9mm configuration of the P320 in full size, while the M18 is the compact model. In my opinion alone, both these pistols are appropriate for an advanced military force like the United States. The M17 and M18 were also crafted with red dot compatibility, but I believe the U.S. Army didn't issue any optics for these guns. Since these are military guns, manual safeties became a standard feature of their setup. I am a huge believer in these manual safeties, especially for firearms used by soldiers or military personnel. Firearm training should still be better than manual safety, but there's nothing wrong with having this feature. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more gun videos like this, just click the subscribe button and notification bell. Take care and stay safe.